In this video, I'm going to show you how to sculpt weld beads. So I'm going to start off by grabbing a cylinder and I'm going to make polymesh 3D and then go ahead and dynamesh this. I'm then going to go to our deformation tab here and polish by features just to get rid of that tessellation, and then polish it once more and another time. Let's go ahead and change this matte cap as well. I'm going to choose matte cap gray. So now that I'm happy with this, what I'm going to do is duplicate it like so. So just holding down Control and dragging in order to duplicate. And I'm going to make sure that this is perpendicular to the cylinder bow, and just increase that in size, pull that up a little bit like so. And I'm going to go ahead and dynamesh this so that we have a surface to work upon. Now I'm just going to clip some of the stuff out. Just make sure that perspective is off. Just take some of this out. Alright, so now that we have our surface ready that we're going to work upon, what I'm going to do is grab my clay brush. And so this is just the basic clay brush, and we need to make a couple of changes. So first thing, I'm going to come over to our brush tab, and under depth, I'm going to change the embed to about 25. And I'm going to change the intensity to about maybe 42, and focal length to about 50, minus 50 that is. So this should give us this result. So now that our brush is ready and the surface is set up, there's a little bit of a technique I employ when doing these weld beads. So I'm just going to adjust my draw size. And what I'm going to do now is draw on the surface and pull back. So what I'm doing is just drawing and pulling back. Draw and pull back. So I draw and pull back, and then I take away by holding down Alt. So to just reiterate, I'm drawing, pulling back, and then subtracting by holding down Alt. So I'm just going to draw and pull back, and then subtract from it. Then draw and pull back and subtract, draw and pull back and subtract, and just repeat this process like so. So I'm not going to do the whole thing. I'll just do a small section and then I'll come back. So I've gone ahead and just finished a small section, and what I'm going to do now is increase our dynamesh resolution. So I'll probably make this about 300 or so, and then just go ahead and dynamesh. So once I've gone ahead and done that, I'm just going to pull up our clay builder brush. So with the clay builder brush, what I'm going to do is change the alpha to alpha 62. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and activate Sculptris Pro mode. And then I'm just going to zoom in and adjust our draw size once again, and just subtract from the surface like so. So let's go ahead and do this. So this is going to give us some little extra detail to the surface. I'm going to reduce my Z intensity and try that once again. So you can skip this step, it's not really necessary, but if you want a little bit extra detail to your weld beads, you can go ahead and try this out. So let's go ahead and switch to that shiny material, and there you go. So that's one way of going about doing that weld bead. Now I'll show you another one. So let's go ahead and switch our material back to Madcap Gray. Let's do that again. Go ahead and grab that. And let's go ahead and grab a new cylinder and make Polymesh 3D. Ensure that I Dynamesh that. Let's go ahead and polish this up quickly. And let's just trim the top off and the bottom. Let's duplicate that and just spin it around like so. Make sure that it is lying horizontal, and then just scale it out and increase the diameter a little bit like so. Go ahead and Dynamesh that together. So the next one we're going to do is a different profile. So for this one, I'm going to grab the standard brush. So with the standard brush, what I'm going to do is I'm going to increase our focal shift to about pretty more. I'm going to set it to 33. You can just play around with the settings and see what works for you. So for this one, there's not much in terms of the depth or the Z intensity. You can just play around and see what works best for your circumstance. And the only thing you'll have to focus here is on the technique. So what I'm doing is, as I'm going across the surface, what I'm doing is drawing these tiny little ellipses and moving forward. So just drawing tiny ellipses and moving forward. So let's go ahead and do that. So bump my intensity up a little bit. So, and make sure that Sculptress Pro mode is on. Now let's go ahead and do that. So just going to draw those tiny oval shapes as I go across the surface, and make sure that I fill in the gaps properly. So I'm just going to work on a section like this, and then let's continue from the other side. I'm just going to show you how to terminate this. So continue to draw those small ovals, and when you come here, just make sure you add an extra. Let's just do that again. So as I'm approaching this, I'm just going to do a few more strokes on the top like so, in order to indicate that the stroke is terminated here. So that's how you go about doing this. And what I like to do is then take the trim dynamic, and I like to just sort of tap on the surface like this, just to break that surface up a little bit. So just breaking that surface up a little bit so that it doesn't look super even. And you can play around with the intensity and so on. And yeah, so that's how you go about doing this kind of profile. So let's hop back to the original one that I had here. So this is how you go about creating well beads in Zbrush. So for those of you that want to grab this file, you can get it from my Patreon. And yeah, that's about it. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.